Howdy, everybody, and welcome to our Æther-Shanties. I'm Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and game master for the SAGAS campaign, and joining me around my virtual table tonight are Joe, KOINES, and Nobody. Say hi, everyone.
Howdy.
Unfortunately, Nico and Alyssa were unable to join us this evening. We hope they have speedy recoveries. Now, before we begin, we do have some announcements to get through, starting with a word from our sponsor for this campaign, SAGAS. SAGAS stands for Setting and Genre Agnostic System, and it was created by the okayest RPGs team. SAGAS is a rules-light TTRPG designed to help you easily tell your story in any world imaginable. Choose from over 100 unique features to build your character, or use the guidelines to make your own unique abilities. SAGAS promotes helping allies over helping yourself, and encourages teamwork to succeed in your challenges. In any setting, SAGAS provides a smooth integration of rules to create a unique framework to help you create your adventures. There's a 35-page Kickstarter, a 35-page playtest available right now on DriveThruRPG, and the Kickstarter for SAGAS has been funded. It's going to be coming out soon. You can find the link in the chat and the show description. This week, we have our Magi Nights campaign on Wednesday. That's going to be at 6 p.m. Central Time. And next Monday, we will be back with another episode of the Aether Tech Wars. We were on a little bit of hiatus this past couple weeks, but we are back to our regular scheduled program. Now, you can keep up to date on that schedule and everything we do here on the network by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV, on Twitter as @random_rhapsody, on Blue Sky as Random Rhapsody, and on TikTok as Random Rhapsody_TV. And that's going to do it for the announcements. So join us as we return to the world of Loroupa and join a group of adventurers sailing far away from that very planet in our Æther-Shanties. And we're back. So for this campaign, we offer up the Random Rhapsody coin to whomever wants to do the recap of our previous session. If I do the recap, I get the coin and I can use it to screw with my players in all sorts of ways, which is probably not the best thing to do when we're already down 2 players. So, with that in mind, who wants to do the recap this week?
I'll give it a whirl.
Okay. Well then, Zolos, tell us what happened last time on Æther-Shanties.
Well, after we had despaired over short stuff getting us into space, because it's totally short stuff's problem, she's not here to defend it, all of a sudden this kind of weird ship started following our ship. I don't know if there's back home we have whales and we have squid. Well, this one looked like a whale and a squid. Looked like a whale gave birth to a squid and stopped halfway through. That shoved right up its ass. There was weird little guys on top of the ship that started shooting at us, and so me, Boomy, Big Stuff, Granite, we just started shooting back, and we were doing pretty good. I'd like to think we scored some pretty damn good hits. I only ever got to play with the cannons and stuff back when I was a kid, and I never actually shot anything, but that was a lot of fun. They were trying to hook us with grappling hooks or harpoons, and that sucked because I didn't want to see what they would have done to us if they got a hold of us. And I don't know what Feathers and Short Round were doing down in the cockpit, but they did something, and all of the sails just all of a sudden sucked back into the ship, and then we put on the brakes. I don't know what brakes are. We put down the anchor real quick and slowed down very fast, and the damaged whale, it was very damaged. It took off. I thought we could have taken it, but Short Stuff, they were a little scared already, so I guess they did something to save us. So yeah, now we're just kind of hanging out. Guess we got to fix the ship, but we're not dead. It's the most important part.
And that's the most important part. Okay, there you go. There's the Random Rhapsody coin. Don't forget to use it. It's only going to last this session.
I always do, so hopefully I'll remember to do it sooner.
Okay, well, let's talk about what's going on right now. With the rise of the sails of the ship, the speed has decreased dramatically. The stars are no longer streaking past you all, but instead have returned to being nothing more than pinpricks of light in a vast sea of blackness that extends pretty much everywhere in your perspective. Zolos, you and Dreezy were clinging onto your ballista at the time, and so you are still in that position at the bow of the ship. Skarn, you were holding on to the console, the navigation console at one point, which is where you're currently at. You can see that Dr. Bloom is still seated in the command throne, and Lark, who is hanging outside by the door frame, has returned to her feet as well, and is currently returning into the cockpit. From where you're standing, you all just kind of pause for a moment, watching, waiting, expecting that giant squid whale mechanical thing to stop and continue pursuit. But as the moments trickle by, becoming minutes, going longer and longer, you all feel a sense of relief because the vessel does not appear. For the moment, the danger has passed. And so you are all cruising at, well, somewhat of a speed. The ship's thrusters were at full when you all kind of came out of your really super fast stage. And so you can still feel a little bit of momentum. The ship kind of rocks and bumps just a little bit from the thrust of the engines on the back of the ship. But apart from that, there's really nothing else going on. So, with that in mind, what do you all want to do?
Well, we're outside. So Zolos would kind of walk over to Boomy and just kind of check him out. He saw he was a little bit of a precarious spot. He's like, "You all right?
Yeah.
You good? You hanging on?"
Yeah, I'm here. Where's everybody else?
I'm guessing they're the ones that kind of dropped anchor on us. Yeah, they dropped this. I mean, if that's what happens when you drop the sails, we're moving quick. Let's not do that again. I feel like I could rip the ship in half.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean,
Let's get back to the cockpit.
is the deck made of wood? It's like the ship, does it look like it's made of wood? I mean, does it just appear that way and it's really made of other stuff?
Go ahead and give me an investigation check here. You're just kind of crouching down, feeling the wood underneath your feet. This isn't too big of a challenge, so I'm gonna rate this as a 6. You're aiming for. If you have anything to assist you, you can roll a d8. Otherwise, you're rolling a d10.
Other than the fact that he spent a lot of times on regular ships, but I don't know if that was going to help him in this case.
I think I was taking into account that fact when I gave you a 6.
10.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so go ahead and roll your d10, and you're aiming for a 6.
Oh, that's a 9.
As you kneel down and feel it, it feels just like wood. You can feel the grain. It's firm. It's smooth. It's well polished and well maintained. And it's definitely not of a quality of wood you've ever seen before. It looks very different from the wood on Loroupa. But
space wood.
Yeah, you got a little space wood.
Damn it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he just looked at it like he was. This looks like it's wood. I mean, it seems like that would damage the ship, so we gotta let them know not to do that again. He's like, come on, let's go find out what Short Round's up to. It's gotta be Short Round that did this.
Let's do it.
Just walk in and be like, I guess, does the dock still have... Did they ever take the little helmet, the crown off?
No, as you return into the cabin, you would see that Dr. Bloom is seated on the throne. They still have the crown on their heads. He kind of nods to the both of you. He's still in control of his...
They had their faculties about them, so...
Yes, they did.
He just looked, he goes, whoa, wait. You see me right now, right? And he just...
Yeah, Doc Bloom figured it out like it was nothing.
So you stopped us.
Well,
I think I technically pushed the button.
You did? I thought, okay.
I believe it was Skarn that pushed the button to raise the sails.
Oh. I'm not a super smart guy. I have never claimed to be. But the ship appears to be made of wood. It may not be wood. Maybe I'm just too dumb to notice. But if we stop that hard again, we might rip in half. So maybe we need to slow down first before we just literally take the wind out of our sails.
Well, I mean, taking the sails out of the wind, but I take your point. Yeah.
Narrow his eyes. I don't know if you're fucking with me. Yeah, but let's just, I think we need to try and figure another way to slow it down, because, I mean, also, Explosy here, it's like, we could have very well flown off the back of this thing.
Yeah, that's not great. We gotta figure out something with that.
My dad used to tie me to the mast, or at least he'd put a leash on me because I was jumping overboard all the time.
I was just thinking the same thing, but we have to move around, so it'd have to be awfully long leashes. Because, in that fight, we were back and forth all over the ship.
I'm sure there's... I mean, we just used rope, like a harness for me, but there's got to be something here that's pretty good, right? I mean, look at this thing. We'll find
there's
something.
There's gotta be rope, right?
Well, it's not even just rope, but I don't know, some kind of material that's better than rope. I mean, this thing is literally in. I was gonna, you know what he would say? Yeah, this thing's literally in the heavens. That's what he would say, because he doesn't know. He doesn't know what space is. It's like, yeah, we shouldn't be up here, but this stuff's way more advanced than the ships I'm used to, so there's got to be something better on here, right?
Look around in the storage.
But anyway, So the squid up the whale's ass is gone. But I feel like we could have taken that ship. Why'd we stop?
Well, I mean, that was... I'm not gonna lie, that was me. I suggested it, and I guess Dr. Bloom listened, but... You know, we were taking a lot of hits at the end there, and it wasn't going great, and... You know, now that they can control the ship, why are we even fighting people in space? We can just turn around and go home?
I mean, you saw how much bigger that thing was than us. I don't think we're going to have a choice. If that's out there, I don't even know what to call that. Because that whale was, like, crying when we hit it. Like, you heard that, right? That thing was alive.
Yeah, and that's another reason I didn't want to keep shooting it.
Oh, well, I've killed whales before. That's not a problem. Yeah, I'm an oceany guy, but I'm not the kiss the animals and tree hug type guy, right? I mean, we can kill a whale if we have to. If it's trying to kill us, I'm killing the whale.
Well, the whale wasn't trying to kill us.
Well, the people on it were, and by extension, you know what? The whale was trying to kill us. But anyway, I mean...
How is that animal normally from the sea, and these other creatures that we don't even know what they are, how are they surviving out here in the world?
How are brains getting out of bodies and walking around?
Well, that thing that we fought in the basement, but when it stung you, it made that happen. I don't really know why, but...
So... I don't even know where we're supposed to go. I mean... What are we doing? How do we get home?
For the past couple of days, you and Lark have been upset about being in space, so I figured we'd turn around now that we know how to do that. We have the map, we know where home is, all we have to do is go there.
Are you sure that's home? I mean, I want to go home, but I also don't want to die in space doing it.
I mean, have we passed... any other planets that we could have possibly be coming from?
Hey,
we have a point on the map that is our origin. I'm fairly certain
no one on Loroupa ever knew there were other places to go. Maybe the Feywild. I mean, that one I'll get. Because, I mean, my people are... I mean, I'm not all human. So we're kind of from the Feywild. But that's like another veil... behind the one that was Loroupa. I don't know that there's other I mean, that map, are you sure that's what those things mean? Are those other stars?
It's where we're coming from, and if it's not Loroupa, then it's a dead point in the middle of space, and how is that worse than where we are now?
I don't like that first word you used. The dead one. Let's not say that word. Please?
I suppose? I mean, it's just a... Okay, sure.
Yeah, but you know, we just almost got eaten by... You know what? Would it have eaten us? Would it have eaten... Was it big enough to eat the whole ship? Was it that much bigger than us, or was it like comparable size?
It was bigger than the ship by a little bit,
but not big enough to eat us.
But not big enough to eat you. It was actually just a slightly bit bigger than the ship, which is much bigger than a normal whale is. Like whales are typically about a half to 3/4 the size of a ship of this size. Like if you want to think about it, but much thinner. But that thing was big.
So if
space whales,
if that thing's up here, what else are we going to run into? And also, they're not dead, so they could come back and look for us. And I'm not looking forward to that.
I mean, if you want to go in a straight line and hope we can catch up with them, that's fine with me. I'm happy to be out here in space. I just... You and Lark especially wanted to go back so bad. I thought you'd be thrilled that we had a way to do that now.
I've been on a few ship chases where we were the ones being chased. me and some friends of ours, we took one of the ships out. We were able to get away, but that was in the water, and we still outran them. That thing is... We barely know how to use this thing. Are we really going to catch up to that? No, I'm fully fine turning around and going home. If we can get home. I mean, if Feathers knows what they're doing, and he'll just look at Doc, he's like, if you can pilot this thing, it's like, let's try.
Yeah, you saw the way he was dodging stuff and spinning around and doing loops during the fight.
I feel like at this point, the Doctor and Lark would kind of get everybody up to speed on how they were piloting the ship during combat. With Dr. Bloom wearing the crown, this powers the ship up and allows the wheel to be unlocked and movable. The thrusters and the wings and the fans are kind of what allow it to maneuver. And then there's the big button that drops the sails, which sends you all into that super speed, the ludicrous speed you all were calling it previously.
Oh yeah.
And
Ludicrous.
when they're in that, when you're in that, the maneuverability is kind of rocky and that sort of thing. But now that he's wearing the crown, and Lark can spin the wheel and do a 180 and take you that way back. You can point yourselves in the reverse now if you want to.
Yeah, let's try turning around, see what that gets us.
Yeah. I mean, as I see it, the real trouble is that we have to figure out how to slow down enough to land without crashing like the folks who crashed it into the forest the first time did.
Well, the good news is
I think they didn't have a choice.
The good news is they did figure out a little bit of the navigational controls. They found a way to increase and decrease the speed of the engines.
And it's just by wearing the crown they figured that out?
The crown is what controls it, and they were kind of doing a trial by error testing for a little bit.
I wonder if that crown does other stuff. I was like, I'm trying to think of what else in the ship we haven't figured out. Well, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, he'll just point to one of the machines that I guess maybe isn't on. It's like he goes, just look at that one, think about that one, and see if you can turn it on. And I don't know what else. I mean, is there anything else?
There's only one we
hasn't
haven't
been
figured
on?
out at this point.
Everything is currently on, from what you can tell. Everything's lit up. You are all examining. I can't remember exactly who it was that was examining the radar system towards the back, the big circle ping that showed you when the enemy ship was approaching. I think it was Skarn and Boomy, maybe. I don't remember exactly.
Together definitely figured out the navigation system.
Okay, you two.
And then we were checking out the glowy cylinder, and we couldn't figure out what that was.
That's right.
And then it was Lark that figured out the communication orb.
Okay. So, yeah, that's kind of where you're at right now. The Doctor kind of looking over and attempting to figure out what the last thing is really doesn't produce anything for you all right now.
If they think about just engine, or I guess we don't know they're called engines. I mean, all right,
machines.
All right, we could figure out their navigational charts. I guess when they think about something, does it produce an image in their head, or does it just kind of listen to they just say, "Hey, do this," and the ship does it?
It's they're not controlling it in that sense.
Okay.
They're not.
I'm almost thinking do they have a heads-up display playing in their head when they think about something? Or...
No, they do not.
Because as I say, maybe we could. If they thought about something and the symbols popped up, we could try and deduce what would be from our own language and try and kind of very painstakingly trial and error. But all right, well,
let's see here.
I guess.
I'm trying to look to see what's up with Dr. Bloom real quick. Unfortunately, yeah, nothing. There's not a whole lot. The one thing that they would be able to tell you is that they can feel a little bit of the fact that the ship has been damaged. He would probably point out that needs to be checked out before you spend too much time playing around with starting up the sails again.
And can they tell where the damage is exactly?
Well, you who are on top of the ship know exactly where the
yeah.
damage was. It was on the stern of the ship. The harpoons were impaling into the back of it.
Then I guess, yeah, I mean, Zolos would be like, he goes, all right, yeah, Granite, Skarn. I'm just like, you know what? I feel until he really knows people, he is just going to give them nicknames. Because he's an arrogant dick. It's like, hey, Granite, you want to go with me and check to see if we can find where those harpoons hit the ship, see if we can't push him out? Can we repair from the inside, you think? When Zolos looked through I guess it was him and Dr. Bloom, I think, that were doing the inventory down when he found like provisions and stuff like that. Was there materials to like potentially repair the ship? Did he see stuff that looked like that?
You did find some quite a bit of equipment down in the hold of the ship, including things that could repair, like planks of wood and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's what he would do that, and I guess if Boomy wants to stay up top to start working with the dock to figure stuff out, or. Zolos is just gonna do the only thing. I mean, he probably did damage a ship or two, doing dumb shit. So he's probably been on repair crews before.
I can go down there in the below deck and look for some stuff too. There might be some other supplies we need.
Yeah, truth to tell, I don't know much about fixing stuff, but if you need someone to carry heavy objects for you, I'm there.
You know what? I'm thinking that's probably because really, all I ever did was like I would just hammer stuff into place. But that was back home. I don't know what we're gonna do. Maybe we do the same thing here. I don't know. We'll go look.
Well, if the three of you are going to be going down to see what's up with the ship, Dr. Bloom and Lark can volunteer to stay up top and keep an eye on things and keep the ship going safe while you're doing that. The question they're going to ask is, do you want to maintain the current speed you're going at, or do you want to slow down? Or do you want to stop altogether?
It took us, what, a day and a half to get out here? If we're going to get home in any kind of time, we need to...
Maybe we need to fix the holes before we try and go fast again, though.
That's fair.
I guess as soon as he gets down, I mean, he would say he'd look at the tubes in the back, I guess, that we figured out where, to speak to every place in the ship. Mm-hmm. He would just he goes, I'm going to find the one in the hold, and I'll talk to you, and we'll let you know when we think we've fixed the ship.
Real quick, we're in a space current, right? People were using this to travel. Could we maybe get out of that
right now?
Yeah, no, okay. We slowed down. Yeah, when you hit the brakes, when you put the sails down.
Okay, I thought we were still physically in it, just not being pushed along. My mistake.
No, I think we're just
yes, technically. Well, you are in the position that you came out in. You've just been flying forward since that point. So I suppose you could assume the fact that you're still in that current, though not actively catching it.
Okay, yeah, just, maybe we should get out of it before we stop in case more people come blasting past at ludicrous speed.
Yeah, this might be the space equivalent of the highway.
Okay.
What's a highway, Boomy?
What?
Remember,
we're high road.
Yeah, there we go.
The main road in town, where all the horses go.
Oh, then Lark will kind of start turning the ship. They'll say that what they're going to do is they're going to attempt to figure out where the current isn't, and they're going to set a course for that while you're all downstairs. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay. Well, then, with that in mind, the three of you start making your way down to the lower deck. The midship, it's technically called. Now, the midship, when you first head down, you actually have to walk out onto the deck. I imagine someone could just, look off the back of the ship to see where the harpoons are lodged. And it is on the midship area. So you're all make your way down to that level. You can see quite clearly that the engine room is still there, still functioning. All of the big crystals on each of the mechanical contraptions are glowing brightly. You can see gears turning and pistons kind of pumping away on all of the various mechanical contraptions. Boomy, you seeing this, you are a tech guru, a tech groupie. And so, this is Disneyland to you, right in here. Making your way back towards the back where those harpoons are lodged, which is actually in the workshop and the infirmary area in the back of the ship, you can see that there are 4 large harpoons still lodged in the back of the ship. I'm sorry, 3 of them. There's 3 of them that are lodged in the back of the ship right now. 1 of them in the workshop area, the other 2 in the med bay. As you open the doors into those areas, the first thing you can't help but notice is that, there is wind kind of rushing out of the ship in through these holes. You can feel a little bit of a current rushing past you. Have you ever been in a wind tunnel before? That's kind of the sensation you're feeling. There's some parchment stuck to one of those holes, just flapping there. The blanket that was on the bed in the infirmary is kind of wrapped around one chunk of the of the harpoon, just wrapped around the big O spike in the front of it. In the workshop, it sucks to see that quite a bit of stuff is just smashed against the wall as well. The hole is pretty damn wide. The harpoon itself kind of got jerked on that one side and broke up a lot of the outer hull as well. And so it's barely hanging on to the ship still, and there's a very large gap around it. And it looks like at least a good amount of supplies probably were ejected out of that area. You're not entirely sure how much has gone, but the fact of the matter is, there's bits and pieces stuck on the hull itself, being sucked out from the air pressure.
All right, that sucks. Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess that you said it was in this one. Is where there's 2 in the infirmary, 1 in this one, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what he'd find wherever the materials were that the planks and stuff like that, and just starts, just saying, hey guys, let's grab it, let's go. Was there, hammers and stuff in there, or would that, hopefully we find that in the shop here?
There are tools in the workshop that you can use. There is a hammer, there's nails, there's wooden planks, there's things like that in the hull of the ship, in the cargo hold. So it's basically just going to take a bit of time. You're all going to be working together to do this, so this is just going to be a group challenge. You need to dislodge the harpoons. You're either going to have to like push them out or pull them in somehow. I'll remind you that pushing them out will be a little bit easier because there is chains that were attached to the back of them, which are now just kind of flapping and pulling the thing, and which is assisting with some of the damage to your ship as well. So you could just push them out, but if you want to keep them, you're going to have to pull them in, which could probably damage, which will probably damage your ship
the ship
more.
further. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. By having to rip it through and then pull through all of that chain. But it would also give you those 3 harpoons.
I'm so tempted. Also, I don't want to damage the ship any further.
Yeah, do we even have anything that could fire these harpoons?
Well, yeah, I mean, our ballistas could fire them.
Not the same size, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then, yeah, then we'd have to upgrade the weapons at some point, and we don't know where to do that. So yeah, let's just push them out.
Get them all out of here.
Okay. Well, so here's how it's going to work. There's 3 of them and there's 3 of you. So each of you are going to roll to dislodge the harpoon. Since everybody is working together on each one, I'm going to say that each of you are going to roll a d8 for this. If you can roll a 3, you do no damage to the ship. If you roll a 4, you're going to do minor damage to the ship. A 4 or a 5. 6 or higher, definitely damaging the ship, doing quite a bit of damage. So the best you can get is a 3 or higher, no damage. 4 and 5, some damage. 6 and higher, quite a bit of damage. So each of you roll a d8, and let's see how we do.
Oh shit! You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and burn it now because I'll burn the coin because that's bad.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're gonna re-roll that one.
Nice.
Nice.
Critical, baby.
Okay. Next 2, make your rolls.
Dreezy's gonna he's gonna get a sharp tool and cut like the point off of thing, and then he's gonna like run up and drop kick the thing and just have like an adhesive, like a piece of tape ready in his other hand, so when it flops out he like covers the hole right away. Just, whoop, all in one motion.
Ah, dog! I got a 4, so it's better this time.
I like it. Yeah, with that 1, you absolutely were able to cut off that tip and slap something large on it just to keep anything else from being sucked away. So that 1, that's definitely going to be able to do that.
Hell yeah.
Skarn with your 3 and Zolos with your 4. All of you managed to successfully get the harpoons out of the hull without damaging the ship any more than you already did. So, great job, everybody. Well done. Next up is the repairs. You're going to have to repair the ship. Each of you are still going to be working together, so we're still going to be rolling d8s. 4 is going to be your best bet. You're aiming for that 4 again.
If I may suggest, Skarn kind of picked up a new trick after last session. At the last level up, I took Control Water, and part of Control Water is to create ice. So I'm sort of imagining creating domes, ice bubbles around the outside to at least give us some cover from the vacuum while we're, like, replacing the boards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
You trying to show me up with this fucking Control Water shit? I'm the water guy?
What?
Seriously?
No, not at all.
I totally thought about taking that. Every level up we've done so far. I was just like, no, I don't want to do it yet, because we're going to be in space. Am I really going to need that?
Well, I
No,
just
I can
figured,
see that
like,
we're gonna
if we're
need
going to be
that.
in space, we're going to need drinking water, so...
Is it still, I guess we're rolling an 8 again?
Yeah, rolling that 8. With Skarn's help, creating that ice dome on the outside of the ship definitely blocks up those holes and makes sure that you don't lose any more of your supplies, which is a huge help. That's going to cost you, I believe it's 2 effort to use your magic, so don't forget that.
Control water just happens.
Oh, it just happens?
Just takes an action, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Sweet. It's a 1 and a 4. Those are both successes, or best options. Oh, Aquaman for the 3rd pass. Or Aqua Person. We'll go with Aqua Person.
That'll work.
Okay, well. With what is that? A 1, a 4, and a 4, you spend the next about couple hours working on taking out the boards that are too damaged, replacing them with the parts that you have downstairs. Since you all succeeded, I'm going to say that you are able to bring your ship back up to full hit points with your repairs. And you've only actually used about a quarter of your of the supplies in the cargo hold.
Awesome. I guess, once we got things up, he'd find the little whichever room we're in, because I know that we found the dock and I found the one that was in the infirmary, so I guess he'd easily find the one in here, and he'd just say, it's like, all right, we think we're ready to go. You can speed us up.
Okay. When you head back up to the ship, the Doc and Lark are going to tell you that they can't really find the edge of the current that you're all in right now. They were fiddling around with the navigation array, but you're pretty much right in the middle of it.
Oh.
Yeah, that works.
Well, I guess we're okay. We're out here a few hours and nothing hit us, so...
Yeah. So I guess if they turned us around, or if we're trying to head back, we'll drop. Well, now, I have absolutely no idea, so Zolos definitely would. He'd be like, wait. So we were going in that direction with the sails. If we put them down again, is it going to take
is it
us
just going to push us
fast?
backwards?
What? I only know the current of the air to flow one direction at one time. Is that going to work up here?
Why don't you go ahead, Zolos, and make for me a sailing check. This is your knowledge of nautical things, of being on ships. Because, while you are technically, yes, in space, you're on a ship. And so currents being caught by your sails, well, that sounds like wind currents. And, there's also ocean currents that ships tend to latch onto. And, in fact, there are ocean currents around Loroupa that allow you to travel from continental section to continental section. So... make for me a sailing check. Do you have anything that'll allow you to use a D8 or anything like that?
No, I think Lark's the one that's got piloting skills, so Zolos doesn't have anything.
So
like that.
This is going to be a D10. And, being the fact that you are familiar with oceans and stuff like that, I'm going to say this is probably a 6.
Now I've just got sticks in my head. Come sail away. Oh shit! Yes, he knows exactly what's going on. He is the guy of the hour.
You absolutely do. And this is what you know. You understand how air currents work. You understand how ocean currents work. You know that if you drop sails, the sails are going to pull you in whatever direction the current's going.
Yeah.
You can't like fight. You can't fight the current with a sail. It's just going to push you in the direction it's going.
Yeah, he would say, he's like, all right, yeah, if this is anything like back home, we can fight against the current just moving about how we're moving now. It's going to take us forever. But if you drop those sails, it's liable to rip the mast off because we're facing the wrong direction.
Okay. Good insight.
If you guys couldn't figure out, and he's looking at them, he goes, you couldn't find a way to get, like, there. It just seems like the whole thing is the current.
Yeah.
There's not a. It doesn't flow backwards at some points, does it? That's not how currents work?
No, not at least not with regular water and wind. I mean, they can change from time to time, but I mean, we've been moving, what, a couple of days now, and it seems to be we're going in one direction. He's gonna just have a little existential crisis. He's like, it's okay. It's okay.
Well...
Okay,
I mean, the ship must have gotten to Loroupa in the first place somehow.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there is another current, but we don't know how to get to it. It might even be something we have to catch it at a certain point, because that's how the oceans back home work. I was like, I mean, that's how you kind of like slingshot with the current around a continent. You know, it's why, you know, if you've ever been on a ship delivering any kind of goods, they go
I definitely haven't, but thank you.
very particular spots. They don't just, oh, hey, I just want to go over here. No, I want to go over here now. No, you've got to sail in very, very specific patterns back home. I can only assume the same's going to be up here.
Mm-hmm.
So
then our options are to go without the current and just use the go machines.
But even then,
take however long it takes, or keep going.
I mean,
the same
that's
way and
fair.
find
I mean,
what's out there.
all right, if we had oars and we had crew, we might be able to fight the current. But we don't have either of those, and I don't know how things work up here. I think we're just we could try and turn around and see how quickly we move along, but I mean, I don't know if it's gonna work. I mean, have they tried turning us around yet, or were they waiting for us to fix it?
You told them to try to get out of the current, so they picked a direction that they weren't going in. They basically went, like, if you were going north, they turned west and started going in that direction. And just, it's bit, they're like, they'll even show you that they fiddled around with the navigation array, trying to pull it go forward and forward and forward, trying to find anything on here. And they will like, as far as the current goes, it's just that's all there has been.
Even then, we're probably moving into diagonal. If they said if we were going north to begin with, and they tried going west, we're probably actually going like northwest because the current is still carrying us.
Well, the current itself isn't pulling you. It's just the engines. If you were to shut off the engines, you probably would like coast a little bit because inertia.
Yeah, just very slowly.
Is there any? I mean, are there any landmass? Is it just black, empty space where we are? Like, are we passing by anything?
Well, you can do one of two things. You can either look out the window of the ship and make a perception check, or you can go and start fiddling with the navigation array map and see if you can find anything on there. That's going to be a tech roll.
Yeah, I want to do the tech roll.
Okay.
It's got to be a Dollar General out there somewhere, right? I mean, those things are everywhere.
Yeah.
Make for me a tech roll. You're aiming for a 4 here. If you have anything that'll give you a better dice, feel free to declare.
Nope, I don't have the tech stuff yet. Maybe next level. I have like repairing normal items.
You have bomb making skills.
Yeah. Bomb making, repairing, I can teleport. Yeah. So what did you say, a 4?
Yep, aiming for a 4.
Oh,
A 1!
You are rolling
Alright.
fucking ones all over the place. This is
Dreezy
insane.
just knows everything.
Dreezy, you go over to the navigation system and start fiddling with the buttons. You figured out how to manipulate the map already, so it's a little bit easier this time. Here's what you realize. You are in a very vast, open nothingness. There are no actual planets nearby. However, about a day's journey at full speed, you can see that there is an asteroid belt of very large size. I guess a belt is the wrong word. Asteroid field is the correct word. You can see that, judging based on the map, it's a little difficult to tell size and proportion, but you're guessing that there's at least like small moon-sized chunks of rock out there. Some of it's kind of tiny, some of it's quite a bit bigger, some of it's very much bigger than your ship. But other than that one asteroid field,
explore our surroundings a little bit. You know, you never know what we could find out here. Could be treasure. Oh, I love treasure.
I think we're just gonna have to keep going away from home till we could find out a way to get back. Not happy about it, but I think it's our only option.
What did we really need to go back there for anyway? To be told what to do by the military? That ain't for me.
I'd rather be told what to do by that horse's ass. He was a horse. Besides, fight whales, squid, wids, squales. We're gonna call them squales.
Whales.
I like it.
So yeah, I'd rather be told what to do, because it's only we only have to be in there for like a couple of years until our tour is
2
up.
years total.
I mean, here, but I don't know how this ship moves on its own, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
I don't know. I'm honestly pretty torn. It's like, I'm really excited to be out here. I want to see the stuff that's out here, but also I would prefer if my friends and family didn't just know me to have suddenly disappeared after having walked into the forest one day. That would be great.
Yeah. It puts it in perspective. I haven't thought about mom or dad since we've been up here. Wow. Well, mom, dad's, he's a difficult person to know. But at least he was rich. I mean, I was rich back home. We don't have shit up here.
There's probably space gold.
I prefer platinum, but
There's probably all kinds of precious metals we ain't never even heard of before. I'm gonna put them in my teeth. And Dreezy smiles, and you can see he's got several like holes in his teeth.
good idea, buddy. Maybe you gotta have, I mean, I know they're a doctor. Maybe they can help you with, you know, the stuff you got going on there?
Yeah, I feel like that's
don't
something.
worry about that.
I feel like that's something you should point out to Dr. Bloom when they're actually here.
Yeah. We'll have to bring that up.
Maybe.
So yeah, let's. I mean, he's gonna look at, I guess, the little. I mean, we know it's a heads-up display, but he's like, well, it's gonna take a look at this glass with pictures on it. I'd be like, this thing is what we're headed towards. I guess we don't know it's an asteroid field. We just know there's something in our path.
Yeah, it's a big field of space rocks. You can tell that a little bit, but
well, maybe there's something there. Or maybe there's something nearby. Someone that's not a squid ship that's gonna try and eat us. It's like,
No
speaking
more
of food,
squiddles.
it's just like, I'm gonna go get something to eat. You guys figure something out up here.
okay.
Go down and see if you can make like pancakes or something from whatever's down there.
It's definitely been a bit of a long day. So you all watch as Zolos starts making their way down into the lower area of the ship, into the galley, I think it's called. While he's doing that, Dreezy and Skarn, what are the two of you planning on doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to tell Dr. Bloom about this asteroid field and get us to go in that direction. Do I need to maybe do a persuasion check?
No. You're all working together as a team. I don't feel like Dr. Bloom would have to be convinced to do that.
Oh, Feathers is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's see what's over there. Could be something great. Could be death.
Okay. It is a little bit away in a different direction than you were previously traveling. But like I said, it's basically going to be a day's journey at full speed. So you have some time. If you want to complete any project, you're all going to have to get a full night's rest during this time. So basically, you have a day of just waiting around the ship. You've already done your repairs, but you certainly still have time to accomplish something if you want to.
I mean, if they're trying to figure out tech stuff for the ship, Zolos is at least, I mean, I guarantee he was put on either deck cleaning duty or whatever, but he's going to start, I mean, they looked through all the supplies, but he's going to try and find paper, pencil, whatever, and take a proper inventory of what he thinks everything is. He should be able to identify most of it. The stuff he can't, he'd set aside and let Boomy take a look at later, but...
I'm pretty sure you've already done that, actually.
Well, I mean, yeah, as I say, I don't know if we
last time.
actually... Because I know he did the food. Well, you know what? Then he'll start cleaning up from everything kind of getting tossed around. At least do that.
Okay.
Maybe put stuff, see if he can get an organizational system instead of just finding out what's there. He'll just spend it. You know, he's gonna, after he cleans up, he's gonna go to work on the galley and really make that his home.
Okay. So while Zolos spends his day doing that, what about the two of you?
I'm gonna go back down to the workshop and see what else I can discover down there.
Okay.
I want to prepare. Try to look around and see what kind of weapons I can get together to help us a little more in case there's some more fighting to come.
Okay, that's absolutely fair. Skarn, what about you?
Honestly, I think Skarn is feeling kind of listless. It desperately wants to be messing with the systems and figure out a way to turn around, since that's so important to folks. But clearly that's not a good idea while the ship is flying, so I think that kind of results in a lot of it just sort of standing around the bridge, just like doing its best to sneak and observe and try not to get in Dr. Bloom and Lark's way while simultaneously just being a huge obstruction.
Fair enough. So, Dreezy, why don't you roll for me an investigation check? You're just kind of going through all the stuff in the workshop. Skarn, why don't you make for me an observation check? You're trying to just keep an eye out with watch what they're doing. Dr. Bloom, for the most part, is going to be remaining where they are in the command throne until like they get tired. You are going to have to kind of discuss a little bit of things like taking shifts in that area, or are you all just, when you go to bed, you just going to weigh anchor, I guess, turn everything off and just take turns watching?
I mean, I'm happy to give it a try, but so far we don't know how that works, right? Because it kind of just took Lark over entirely.
Well, that's the question. Are you going to want to attempt? Do you want to try the crown as well?
Tell you what, now that the dock has bonded with the ship, will it always work for them, or will it be something that like they have to keep trying every time?
Well, are you all?
Well, I was to say, if it worked for them, that's what I'm
trying to ascertain. Are you like experimenting during the next day?
I think we need another pilot. I think we need at least one because the dock can't do it forever. So if somebody else with the smarts, what was the role that they had to do for that?
It's basically a control roll. It's a D12, and you're aiming for a 2.
Oh shit! I don't like those fucking odds.
That's what it's been for every person who's first tried on the crown.
Shit.
I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot, but
I guess we gotta be ready to pry it off.
Yeah, that would be good, because last time this happened, we just kind of rocketed off, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's what your role is going to be. You're going to be, this is an experimentation role. You're spending your time on the ship working with Dr. Bloom and Lark, trying to figure out whether or not you can help pilot the ship. So that's what you're going to be rolling. You're rolling a D12, you're aiming for a 2. Zolos, since you're just spending your time, making food and setting up the galley, I don't really feel like you need to make a roll for that. That's just you're spending your day doing that.
Okay.
It's fairly easy because we've already talked about all your food supplies and that sort of thing. You're just setting it up.
He's trying to make pancakes.
Yep, so Skarn, go ahead and give me your roll. Dreezy, you rolled a 6 for your investigation.
Yep.
So, there is some weapons on board the ship. You can find basic, crossbows, that you all had when you came in. You had your basic weapons with you when you arrived as well. There's like some things on board the ship like hand axes and short swords and shields, stuff like that. That would be fairly typical on a naval vessel. We've already talked about like what ammunition you have for the ballistas, that sort of thing. So that's really all of the weapons that you have on the ship. Just your basic, hand weapons, projectile crossbows, that sort of thing. As far as building supplies, there's quite a bit of building supplies. There's all sorts of raw ores that you have in boxes. You found alchemical supplies that you could use to make more of your bombs and that sort of thing, as well as like different parts to make up various stuff. Like there's gears, there's tubes, there's springs, there's all sorts of stuff. So it's more based on your imagination, but like with your 6, you don't really find anything that there's no, okay, this is how you build a phaser or any shit like that. There's just supplies there. So you have supplies to do the things you know how to do right now. And there's plenty of supplies to do other stuff if you start learning how to make other things as well. But there's nothing that like, oh, you have X amount of things that you could build this with.
Okay. Yeah, then I'd like to assemble some explosives that I know how to make.
Okay, you could absolutely do that. Skarn, what did you get for your roll?
I haven't rolled yet. I just wanted to ask real quick.
Sorry,
When
go ahead.
Dr. Bloom rolled this, you asked them how much magic they had, and I wasn't sure if that would be relevant for this roll or no.
In this roll, no. There's a reason why, but
Okay.
I can't explain that quite yet.
Understandable. Then I'm hitting the button now. Afraid not.
Okay.
That would be a 5.
Yeah, so here's what happens. Like, you have Dr. Bloom take off the crown, you place the crown on. In that instant, like the moment the crown goes off, the engine shut down. You place the crown on your head, you go black, or white, I should say. Your eyes roll up into your skull, the engines turn back on immediately, but you have no control whatsoever of your faculties. Somebody's there, Dr. Bloom's there to take the crown off your head, so the engines are only going for a second. When they replace the crown on their head, they have to make the same roll, which I'm going to go ahead and do for them real quick. However, I will report the fact that, well, actually, I'll report the fact that after it happens.
They should have
what
just
happens
slept
real
in the
quick.
chair. That's where they live.
Activity. Let's see if they can do this real quick. They also go black or white when the crown is placed back on their head. And Skarn, you have to rip it off their head as well, because you see their eyes go white.
Okay. Well, that's bad. Can I ask how you did it the first time? I mean, was something different?
They tell you they're not quite sure. They placed it on their head, they concentrated, and it just worked. But that time when they put the crown back on, it felt like the first time.
Okay. So, So only one person at a time can use it, I guess. And if someone else tries to, then it resets the connection. But actually, that's something we'll have to figure out. Because what if... I mean, if you have the connection and you just take it off, does it break the connection, or does someone else have to try? I wonder. But in order to figure that out, we'll have to get somebody connected to it, so... I mean, I guess we're gonna be zipping forward in fits and starts until we can get one of us hooked up to this thing again.
Yeah, kind of. We're just going to play the law of averages, because eventually the two of you going back and forth, trying to put it back on, eventually odds are one of you will become in control again. So I'm not going to just keep rolling and rolling and rolling until someone hits it. We're just going to say that over the span of like a good 40 minutes or so, the two of you are passing it back and forth until one of you regains control and is able to do so and still be conscious. Well, we'll say it's Dr. Bloom again, just so you can do other stuff if you want. This provides a bit of a thing. Because either Dr. Bloom's going to have to take it off to go to sleep at some point, and the day is wearing on. So does somebody want to sleep for a few hours, come up, put it back on, and repeat the process again? It could be tedious, but it could be done. My question is just who's going to do that? Who's going to give Dr. Bloom a break halfway so that both of you can get a full 8 hours?
I mean, I already volunteered once. If I can get it to work, I'll certainly do it.
Okay.
Sure, go for it.
Sorry, didn't catch that.
Zolos can try.
Oh, I just said go for it.
Zolos, you want to try as well?
Yeah, we'll try. So it's 12 shooting for 2?
Yes, your first try would be a 12 shooting for a 2.
Nope.
You go through the same process as well. Eventually, it depends. It's up to you if you want to like keep doing the same thing of trying until you get it.
I would assume we got to be able to figure out how somebody can not have to keep doing this. I guess I saw Bloom earlier. They'd got a 3, so I guess after a while, like the number gets better.
Well, you wouldn't know that. You would have.
Well,
no,
I mean, me.
From you, Joe, yes. From the process of elimination, the more you connect to it without going blank, the easier it becomes. It's just a process of time and getting used to what's inevitably a painful process.
And I guess, and is it something we have to take a break after we fail, or?
Oh yes.
Okay.
You don't have to take a break from failing, but you have to take a break after being in it for a while.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Bloom will report that, like, being in that chair and wearing that crown for a good 6 hours has drained them completely. They are exhausted.
Zolos will try one more time, and then let somebody else try. And then I guess, someone can just take a watch in the cockpit to watch, like, the radar, make sure nothing's coming up on us.
Yeah, you need at least one person in the cockpit to keep it flying and navigating.
And we got a lot of smart people, so he'll try one more time, see if he can get it to work, and then... Oh, shit! God damn it, I was hoping I was gonna fucking fail.
Well, yeah, right. You actually are able to place the crown on your head and maintain yourself. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting having your mind connected to the ship a little bit. Like, it's not a communication thing. It's more like a feeling, a sense. You can feel a little bit of the ship, but it's not. It's difficult to describe. It's just like a little fuzziness that you can just feel the edges of.
I mean, he just feels, all right, this is very nice. I mean, I didn't know I was so smart. I guess I should give myself more credit. I mean, but, hey, look at this. I got this on and you don't. I don't want this on, by the way, but I will take it. And he just look at the dock. He goes, "Yeah, you need to go lay down, because you are not only somebody who's smart that can fly this thing, like I'm the smart, but you also have to keep us all.
I'm the smart.
You gotta keep us walking, Doc. So yeah, he's like, as your captain." And he's looking over at Skarn to see, because Skarn's really, like, I guess, our patrol leader. Shut the door.
Yeah.
He'd be like, yeah, just go get some sleep. He goes, I'll hang out up here. If you guys want to he's going to look at the others. He's like, if you guys want to hang out and take rest later. And it's like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I guess,
honestly,
I guess I do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to go crash and I'll relieve you in 6 hours, assuming I can get the thing to work.
Okay.
All right.
Well, everybody can take a long rest, which means you're healing up a little bit. If you have any wounds, you can drop that wound by 1. Other than that, let's see here. I'm looking for it right now.
Does everyone still have that life-threatening wound? I mean, I know I do, but I don't know how everyone else is looking.
Zolos was good. He never had one.
I know Lark had a wound, so it's going down by 1.
Yeah, I was at 1 wound, so now I'll be at 0.
Okay. So that also means that those of you who, if you have no more wound, you're going to be healing back up again. So both your health and your effort will be restored.
Woo!
No. Yes. I don't know how to turn it off.
Okay.
Oh, it's just got cycles.
I can hear you, Joe.
Oh, sorry. I was showing my kid a light. I got road flares from my truck at work. They're like little magnetic ones, so like I can put them under my parking cones. Sorry.
After about a day's travel, you've all healed up completely. Boomy, you did say that in that time you also wanted to make some bombs, so go ahead and make me your crafting check. I forgot to have you do that.
Okay.
Let's see, I gotta look because I don't remember offhand how it works. Okay, a difficulty 6 check is required. If you fail, the explosive detonates in your zone. You do have the tools for this, so you're going to be rolling a D10.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. It's early in the morning. And Zolos, you've been you're just finishing up your shift. Skarn has come up to relieve you, and you've just taken the crown off to hand to Skarn, when suddenly
Oh, boom.
an explosion rocks the ship, shaking it violently. Alarms start going off. Fortunately, the ship the engines are off because you were passing over the crown.
Yeah, thank God.
But the ship rocks and shakes from the force of this explosion. Boomy, you're going to be taking, what is the damage on that? It is, I think, a 2.
God, thank God you put fucking something into your health. Otherwise, you're down.
2 damage? Just straight up 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we were all dying, as I recall.
Yes, that's exactly why. Yeah, everything in that zone takes 2 points of damage, including everything in the workshop. And there's a lot of components in there. So the hull of the ship is now burning. There is fire erupting out of the workshop as everyone comes running up to the second floor, or the, what's it called, the midship, to see just flames billowing out from the workshop area.
He comes running out of there with his like pants on fire going, "What?"
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to take a break
Shit.
while I go figure out what the fuck happens next. Stay tuned, everybody. Howdy, everybody. We are back. And when we last left off, surprising nobody, Boomy has blown himself up again. The rest of you have come running down the stairs. It was Skarn and Zolos upstairs attempting to trade around the crown when an explosion rocked the ship. Fortunately, the engines are currently disabled since nobody's wearing the crown, and the two of you come running down to the midship to see Boomy running out of the workshop, which is now ablaze, and his pants are also ablaze. So what are y'all doing?
Dreezy F Boomy, and the F is for I'm on fire!
If there's one thing Skarn's used to, it's making a mess on accident. And now that it has this water power, I think it's just gonna go to town. It might not be the best for the ship, but as an action, I can create a volume of water equal to my size, so just
that's a lot of
gallons and gallons of water dumping into this workshop.
Yeah, I kind of just imagine that you have your two hands out like this, and suddenly water just surges out from your hands, it just hitting everything that's on fire. Good news is, yes, that's going to put it out. It's not going to take too long to put out both Boomy and then the workshop, since you've got this water power. However, it also does significant damage to the workshop itself. Things are on fire, and while they're no longer on fire, they're being hit by a very strong force of water that you yourself said you're going to be doing. So, once you're done, you can see that the table has been singed horribly. All the paper is just ash. There's ashes pretty much everywhere. You're missing probably about 5 or 6 different tools, as well as some other parts and supplies. The chemicals are, well, what's left of the chemicals are now so sodden with water that the chances of them drying out are non-existent. You've also your
This
ship's
is a
taken.
long shot, but the powers control water. Can I then try to extract it from those chemicals?
I mean, maybe to an extent, but they're still fairly ruined.
Yeah.
The ship's taken 2 points of damage. Whoever's controlling that sheet can go ahead and
How
take
much you
those
said?
2 points. 2 points of damage.
2 points, alright, yeah, I got it. I got the page open.
You are now dead in the water. Well, dead in space, I should say. While the outer hull was not like broken out, the inner hull is damaged, and you will need to take at least a couple hours to repair the ship.
Whoops, I thought I measured out that nitrogen glycerin correctly, but
We have to Boomy-proof the ship.
I'm not 100% sure that's possible. He blew us up when we were sitting in bed.
But like I said, all that's made of wood. If we get somewhere where we stop and resupply, we can try and find something to...
yeah, good thinking. A blast bunker. Gotta shore it up around here. This is shoddy manufacturing. Everything's flammable.
Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but didn't you say if you had a workshop this wouldn't happen again?
You know, that's what I would have thought, but here we are.
Okay. Maybe that's not a great idea for your own safety. I mean, you've blown yourself up twice now that we've seen. Do you need a...
Yeah, it
Just
didn't hurt.
go ahead and use the healing ability to give you a point of health back. Cost me 2 effort.
Ooh, thanks.
Okay, using those 2 points of effort, you are able to heal Dreezy for at least a point of health, shoring
one,
up
yeah.
some of those wounds. But it scabs over the burns that are on Dreezy's butt and that sort of thing, and kind of starts scabbing over the ones on his back. It's not fully healed, but it's not looking too terrible.
And Skarn, when you're doing this, like, he's turning around so you can get all the different places. You're seeing that his skin is already like really like scarred up and like charred, and like there's like little pieces that just look like harder than normal skin. Like he's almost like gaining scales over time from being like having these scars.
So you said the first time we did the repairs, we used a quarter of the supplies. How much did we use this time now?
Not quite another quarter.
So yeah, maybe
another 8.
60%.
Yeah, we'll say you have 60% of your supplies left.
Yeah, because just under, I guess, equipment on the ship, I just added repair materials. I figured we could track stuff that way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect.
So I'll just say 60% repair materials left.
It's going to take you a few hours to do these repairs as well.
Yeah. I guess, maybe later off stream, I guess would you say like how many harpoons and bolts and stuff we have? I can add it all to this list, or do you have a number off the top of your head? Or
let's see. I believe you.
I
can't remember how many I told you I had to start with. That's the one thing I don't remember.
Well, because there were four at each station in the front, and I think half that many up top. So we used all of the ones up top.
Yep.
And then I think he only fired maybe 3 on the bottom total, or 4 at most.
Yeah, I want to say there. Actually, no, I'm going to go on the conservative side and say 3. So there's at least that left over. Probably, and you had taken all of the ammo up to the top too.
Okay, so that's all that's left.
Yeah. So we'll say in total you've got about a dozen shots left.
Okay. 12. And I guess we could fill in other things as we go along that we have.
Yeah. So. Yeah, as it becomes relevant, we'll keep filling that stuff in. But I would make a notation that you're out of explosive materials until you're able to pick up any more.
Just all caps, no more boom powder. I wonder why. I can't draw a physical picture of Boomy in the thing, but everybody will know why if they look at that. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess we'll repair that and then let him. I guess after that, how many hours? You said it took 2 hours. Well, shit, now Zolos is only going to get like 6 hours of sleep, but.
Well,
you can sleep
yes
in.
And no. You can sleep in, and being the fact that you're on a ship and you're kind of all going in one direction, you don't really have to.
Yeah, we don't.
There's enough of you that if you're running skeleton and just using the engines and nothing else, you're like you don't need a full crew on top of the deck, so you can do other things. And about that time, I imagine that's about when Dr. Bloom would wake up and Lark as well. I am going to just see how well Dr. Bloom does at attempting to drive the ship. Oof.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of kind of working back and forth between the two of them. For the sake of expediency, we're gonna say that between Bloom and Lark going back and forth amongst the two of them, they do eventually get to the point that they can successfully navigate the ship once again. Zolos, you're able to head down and get your sleep as well. You spent your evening piloting the ship, so you feel fairly tired as well. And by the time you do wake up, about 8 hours later, that's about the time that you're first starting to approach the asteroid field. I imagine during that time, Boomy, you probably spent most of your effort in the workshop, trying to just clean it up and straighten it up and that sort of thing. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, definitely.
It's probably a good idea. Give me just a cleaning check. This is going to be a D10 for you. Roll for me a 4.
Oof, a 10.
Well,
I'll use my lucky. Sure. I'll use lucky. Spend 2 effort to succeed.
okay. Go ahead and pop off those 2 effort points, and which you will be able to succeed, and spend your time going through everything, getting the workshop back in a workable state. As I said, to your dismay, you do figure out the fact that you are missing your alchemical components. They're either lost or ruined. From between the explosion and the water. You didn't lose any weapons. You didn't lose a whole lot of like just building materials, fortunately. The things that did get sodden are like powders and components and stuff like that, but just your like basic gears and tools and stuff like that are still serviceable, so you haven't lost anything like that.
Okay, that's good. Okay, yeah, I spend a bunch of time kind of like putting things back in order and making sure I kind of have things that make sense together for me.
Now, while Boomy was doing that, Skarn, do you have anything you want to accomplish during those 8 hours?
Honestly, I think Skarn is trying to, just use the same water power to extract as much of it from the area as possible.
Okay.
If there is one thing that Skarn has figured out accidentally, it is how much damage water can do to a wooden domicile.
Absolutely. So you're basically assisting Boomy in getting the workshop taken care of. Getting all the water
I guess
and
I
all
wouldn't.
that stuff out.
I don't know if it's assisting so much as just trying to clean up my own mess.
Fair enough. But the sentiment is the same.
Yeah.
As the two of you have completed this project, and Zolos is finally beginning to wake up and start heading up to the main deck, Lark comes running down. She informs you all that the engines aren't working as well. They seem to be sputtering, the doctor says. The doctor still has the crown on their head, but they can tell that the power in the engines is starting to diminish quite severely. So y'all need to check that out.
Did we break them? Uh-oh.
So I guess if Zola's walking over here, he's just gonna look at Boomy. You see why we can't have nice things? What'd you do?
As you all You're all in the engine room now, and you do notice that as you're looking about the components of the engine, the crystals, the large crystals, there's one in each of these components, of these contraptions, are like flickering. They were glowing brightly, but now they're starting to flicker, and that light is beginning to fade.
Are the dilithium crystals losing power? Is that what's going on here? Is there other... Now, when I was looking through the supplies, were there more crystals?
There were.
Then, I mean, he'd be like, there's crates of these things out here. I don't know if we just have to replace it? I don't know how to do that. But there are more of these things.
Okay, that makes sense. Per your excellent advice a couple days ago, if we're going to do that, we should stop the ship first so we don't, mess anything up while the thing is flying. They're expendable? I guess that makes sense, but...
Dude, sales power is the only ship I've ever known. I don't know what this crap is. So why can't they go out? Of course they can. Our life can't be that easy, can it?
Guess I just don't they're rocks, right? How are...
Well, I mean, you're a rock, but you move and talk and walk, I mean, it's not the same. I mean...
Yeah, okay, fair, but until last week I didn't exactly have energy flowing through me.
The wizardy types back home sometimes use, like, gems and stuff that get burnt up when they do their spells, do their magic. Maybe this is the same principle.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, alright.
Hopefully we don't die changing these things out.
That would be ideal. And also now we have to worry about how many of these things we have, because I don't want to think about what happens if we run out.
Yeah, I know. Just we only have 12 bolts left, and I'm already afraid if we get into another fight. So, and we don't have money. We don't have money. Well, no, we did find some, didn't we? Didn't we find?
You did find a chest full of treasure, coins of various sizes, and as well as precious stones.
So we might be able to buy new shit. Where do you buy new shit? I mean,
there were the marked locations in the map. We could always try something like that.
Store around the corner. I mean, all right, let's just get this replaced. Hopefully, that's what it is.
Yep.
We need an instruction manual.
We have one. We just can't read it.
We can read. We can read. So yeah, well, he'd take him to where he saw them and see if there's some that are the same size as these. Because these crystals look like they're pretty big. Or is that do they just appear that way because you couldn't really figure out it?
No, they're pretty freaking big. They are that size. These are nice basketball or larger watermelon almost sized crystals. Some of them are bigger than the others. Actually, comparatively speaking, like the there's 5 crystals in total that you can see. 4 of them are in the 4 different contraption points. In the center, the large engine, there's the largest one. So 4 small, 1 large. You head down to the cargo hold, where you do remember seeing a box with some of these crystals. You open up the box and look inside the lid, and there are in total, let's see here, how many do we got? We have a total of 2 very large stones and 7 minor stones. Packed away in the crate, and like like you have to dig around a little bit. It's all packed in straw, so none of them are touching one another, and it's all nice and safe and cozy.
And did it look like all of the crystals were going out, or was it just big one, or?
It was all of the crystals.
Okay. Now, how hard are these things to carry? Are they super heavy, or?
You pick one up experimentally. They're actually a lot lighter than you were expecting them to be.
Well, then he'd look at the big one and be like, "I'm gonna let you try that one out, big guy." It's like, I guess, is Boomy able to carry one?
Oh yeah, yeah. You could easily, two of you together could pick up the whole crate and carry it up to the next level if you wanted to, or you can pull them out individually.
Yeah, either. You know what? I'd say let's bring the whole thing up, and we can find a spot to store the extra ones close by, just in case. Let's say it's an emergency, we got to change them out quick. I'd prefer they're closer than further away.
Absolutely. So working together, the two of you bring up the crate. It's not heavy. It's just, it's a crate, so it's a little awkward. But it's definitely a lot lighter than you were expecting it to be. You bring up the crate into the engine room. Boomy, during that time, what are you up to?
Well, I was organizing in the workshop and everything, so if I'm done with that, I'll kind of be like, I need to get out of here for a little while, get some fresh air, and I'll go up to the deck. Do I run into Zolos and Skarn in the engine room?
They would have, you would have finished up in the workshop while they're still bringing the crate up. You would be aware of the fact of what's going on, though.
Well, I guess
because if Lark came to get me, then you would have been in the room for that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll help them install the new crystals. I want to make sure everything works right. I want to try to fix what I've messed up.
Okay.
I doubt this is actually your fault. It's just Zolos being a dick.
Yeah, but he feels bad. It's like, I'm not trying to blow up the ship. I'm trying to help make weapons to defend us against things out here.
That is fair. Well, so Boomy, since you had a little time to spend in the engine room, why don't you give me a tech check? Start examining these engines, try to figure out how to take out the crystals once they're brought up.
Tech check.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be a D12 for you because this is really the first time you've spent a lot of time investigating these engines. So you're rolling a D12, but you're only aiming for a 5.
Okay. A 2.
Nice. You start examining these machines, and as somebody who loves technology, I imagine you just spend this moment poring over everything. You can definitely tell that removing the crystals is not a complicated project. The engine in the middle, you just have to unscrew this tube, take out the crystal, insert the crystal back into the tube, and reinstall it into the engine. The other 4 slots is fairly easy to unlatch and insert it. You have to get them in and make sure they're nice and secure and snug in the each device. You actually have to attach some wires and things like that. But it's not too complicated of a thing to do. However, this is what I'm going to tell you because you rolled so well. As you examine this machine, you know for a fact that you need all of the crystals in there to power this thing up to full power. However, you're fairly certain that in a pinch, as long as you're able to and you have everything inserted, if you have at least 4 out of the 5 crystals new and fresh, there should still be enough power to operate the engines at a 70% capacity.
Okay.
So in a pinch, if you don't have exactly enough to install, you could still power the ship. It's not going to run as well, but you can make it work.
That's good to know.
So once everybody returns, you're all going to have to work together to install this. Since Dreezy has figured things out, not too difficult. I'm going to have the three of you each make a roll. You're rolling a D8 because Dreezy is explaining to you how to install these crystals. You're rolling a D8. You need to roll a 6. Not too complicated. Or is it? Let's see.
It's 6. Oh! God damn it! Too many of those good rolls early.
Well, at least you get an effort point back.
I didn't lose any though.
Yeah,
I got all my effort on it.
that's fair. Waiting on a roll from Boomy.
A roll for
Swear
me.
to
I thought the
God.
roll was to
all your
understand
effort.
me
Do you have
explaining
enough
it.
effort to give yourself advantage on this roll?
Can I do that?
No, I'm having everybody roll
No.
to install
No.
these. You just had to roll
No, I
a
meant,
D6.
can I
Oh, okay.
give
sorry, I
effort to
misunderstood
give
that.
myself
Yeah,
a
you're-
second shot?
No, you have
Like
to expend 3 effort to help yourself.
I've got 3.
Then you could add an extra dice to this.
Okay, yeah, that's all. Because I never use. Yeah, all right. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
And yeah, Boomy, you just need you roll a D8. You're aiming for a 6.
Boom. I've been studying when you guys are messing around.
Okay, Zolos, make your new roll.
Right. Yeah, I'm doing it now. Oh my god.
Effort points.
Oof, yeah. You have to put a little extra effort to get that crystal in. It's like it's not quite the right size and shape, and you just have to force it to get it into position. But with a little extra effort, you are able to do the job. And the crystal is inserted. Once everything is clasped back into place and all the parts are put back together, the crystals begin to glow again with a whoosh. And you hear Dr. Bloom calling down from the cockpit, reporting that the engines are now working once again.
See, this is why I don't. Yeah, this is my moneymaker, guys. Not up here, right here. All right, just a little lower than up here. So from now on, you're in charge of crystals. Just looking at you two. So he just walks off.
I wonder if the crystals are a finite energy source. Do you think we're still drawing from them when we're being pushed by the current?
I don't know how this stuff works, but I mean, if it's not on, if it's not like this isn't actively going, would that still? I mean, I guess they glow when they're being used, right? We figured that.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to be
These
going.
are good questions. Good questions.
Just. Yeah, I guess find yourself some more paper, Boomy, and start taking more notes. Well, he burned his away. I mean, am I being an asshole here? By telling him to go find new paper?
No,
I thought it was
It
being
depends on
reasonable.
if there's more paper on the ship.
Oh, I got some in the galley. Don't worry. I was taking notes earlier. There's some in there. And I'm sure there's some in the, the med station or something like that as well. I mean, there's probably a crate of extra stuff or something.
There's probably some in the cargo hold.
Yeah. So we need to. I mean, I can't believe I'm the one saying this. We need to document and write down everything. So when we figure out what we're really doing, it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, this is frustrating, but everything that happens tells us a little bit more about the ship. Just gotta figure it out before we run out of everything. That's not terrifying at all.
Well, we just gotta keep moving. I mean, these things have to last a while, right?
Maybe?
It's a
They gave
big
us,
rock.
what, 4 or 5 days?
Well, I mean, that was used from whatever the things that got to Loroupa used too, though.
That's true.
Maybe there was months or years worth. We don't know.
Hopefully.
Okay. Well, Boomy, since you seem to be getting a pretty good idea of these engines, if you want to, you can make a check to try to, because you had posed the question earlier, whether or not the energy is being drained when the sails are up. So if you want to make a tech check to try to get a little more information about the engines, you absolutely can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I imagine, Zolos, you said you're walking away, so you're probably heading back to the gallery to start making breakfast for everybody?
Make something up. He'll figure. Because, I mean, I'm sure there's it's almost like it's like, for astronauts. It's like freeze-dried stuff and stuff that's sort of like...
Well, it's more like
turkey and things
non-perishable things, you know what I mean? Like dried beans, dried meats, things like that.
He'll try and figure something out, See what he can.
Looks like I rolled a 7. It was supposed to be a 12 for this, right?
No, you're going to be rolling a D10 for this.
All right, do you want me to re-roll? I rolled a 7.
Yeah, I want you to re-roll.
Yeah.
You're rolling a D10 for this. You're aiming for a 5.
Three.
Okay, there you go. While Dreezy is attempting to figure out the engines and that sort of thing, Skarn, are you helping him, or are you doing something else?
I think I'm probably running upstairs, right? Because we were about to hand off a pilot when the whole engine thing went down, so probably time to relieve Dr. Bloom.
No, Dr. Bloom just started. They woke up while... it would be 8 hours, so yes, you're right. You would have to get to do a trade-off. You're right now. You're absolutely right. So you are heading up to do that. Why don't you just give me that D12 check? You are currently aiming for a 3. Dreezy.
Okay.
While Skarn's making that roll, Dreezy, you spend some time examining the engines, trying to get a feel for it. And you also kind of think back a little bit to what all happened during the events of being in that current. This is what you know. You know that, number one, while you were in the current using the sails, the engines were also running. Looking at the tubes and everything, looking at how the engines seem to be functioning, you can tell that while the engines are running, that's what's mostly depleting the power from the crystals. There is definitely power that's just running the ship itself. There's definitely a constant flow of energy. because there are a lot of different instruments on here. You're fairly certain that something is keeping the air going, at the very least. There's always air that you are all breathing, so something must be powering that at the very least. But the engines, as they're currently running on full power, they're drawing quite a bit of energy from the crystals. If you turn off the engines themselves, like if you're in the current and turn them off, that drain would drastically reduce. It's hard to know exactly how much energy is being drained. There isn't like just a fuel tank gauge or anything like that. So you're not quite sure how long they last. But like Zolos said, who knows? That they could have been running for months and months before they hit Loroupa. They could have been running a week. There's no way to know without just giving it time or, asking somebody who does know. But at the very least, from what you can tell, they don't see, like, just the engines running as they have been, now that it just started. There doesn't seem to be, like, any significant change. Or any measurable change, in fact. Does that make sense?
Okay. So, the auxiliary power can be on... but it's not going to drain the battery unless we're moving? Is that what I'm getting the gist of it? Okay.
Yeah, when the engines are running, that's when it's drawing the most power. If they're not running and it's just the normal ship going, it's not drawing nearly as much power.
Okay. We're learning things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Skarn, unfortunately, with that 8-year-old, placing the crown upon your head does not... you go blank. You're going to have to retry this over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it does drain quite a bit of your vitality as you're taking it off, putting it back on, taking it off, putting it back on. But just for the sake of time... I'm not going to have you just keep rolling until you get it. Eventually, you will be able to take control of the ship, so that Dr. Bloom can go to sleep. Okay. About that time, you are significantly close to the asteroid belt. The ship had stopped for a while because you had to replace the crystals and all of that, and then you had your little jerk and stop, putting on the crown, taking it off again. But at least by this point, you know that, hey, turn down turn the engines off until we get the crown back on again. So it's not nearly as much of a jerk motion. Eventually, you are able to take control. Lark says that she's still feeling fairly good, so she will pilot the ship for a little bit before she has to hit the hay. So here's my question. How are you approaching this asteroid field? And what are your plans once you all start making your way in? Are you looking for a place to sit down? Are you looking for anything? Like, what's the plan for heading into an asteroid field?
Since
I think we should look
seen the documentary A New Hope, I will be sitting there on the ballista in case there's other ships. He's gonna be ready in case something's hiding out, waiting to attack us.
I think we should be ready to fight, but we should be looking for anything that we maybe could that would help
salvage?
us. Yeah, salvage,
like maybe
or
some kind of mineral. Well,
some kind of.
How would we get to it? Is the we'll deal with that when we come to it. You look out for shiny
maneuvering.
Stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you're heading into the asteroid field. You're looking for minerals or anything shiny, anything that you can spot, and you're just basically like kind of going around the asteroids until you find something.
Zolos is looking for danger, so he's keeping an eye out. Well, I guess we've got the radar, though, don't we? But then that would be pinging already, you would think. If we was picking
Yeah,
some.
is the radar picking up all these asteroids?
It is. It absolutely is. You have to fiddle with the radar a little bit and pull it out to see them and make them much smaller blips on there. But the radar is definitely picking them up. It's harder to get the smaller ones on the screen than the bigger ones. It's almost as if like the size of the thing makes it easier or harder to spot. So, like, for example, the size of your ship or bigger, easy to see on the radar. Things smaller than that, things about the size of, say, Skarn, not picked up at all. So there is some visual work as well, but...
I don't know. Skarn flew into our ship. That would do a lot of fucking damage.
It depends on how fast I was going.
See, he's looking out for anybody that might be lurking, because I guess if they could see the asteroids moving by on the thing, I mean, somebody could be hiding behind one and we wouldn't know it until they're there. So yeah, he's looking out for danger if other people want to look for other stuff.
Okay. And here's the next thing I'm going to ask you. Because, like, there's no headlights on the ship. There's a little bit of light in the interior of the space you're in. But beyond that, it's fairly dark, too far of a ways beyond the ship. Now, you can see the big, large asteroids because you know the stars, but like, yeah, some of the small ones is a little hard to see unless you got some light out there.
So we need one person powering the ship and somebody on the wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if that's the case, he is going, Zolos would suggest we need to have, like, everybody else up front. Two of us spot, and we call them back to someone, near the shout back to somebody, and they can relay that to whoever's piloting us. Saying, hey,
Okay.
move left, move right for smaller one.
Is there a spotlight up on
No, I said
outside
there's nothing like that. It would have to be like almost like the light cantrip, but I mean, it's not that kind of system.
I mean, we could rig something up with a lantern and a mirror.
There are lanterns down below. You could rig up something.
Are there some small mirrors?
I mean, if you
make an investigation check for me. Let's go with this. I feel like it's going to be a D10 roll. I feel like there's not a horrible odds that there's at least a couple small mirrors on the ship. So let's say if you can roll a 3, you find everything you need to make a couple good spotlights. If you can roll a 4, you can definitely find enough to make at least 1.
Okay. Ooh, 7. Yeah.
So I'm going to say with your 7, you find 1 small hand mirror. But that's about it. You do find some bullseye lanterns, just your basic lantern that gives a little bit of light that you can use as smaller spotlights. So you are still going to be able to see them when they get very, very close. You are going to be able to maneuver around them. However, you're not getting the best visibility that you could have.
Okay. Can I? How many of those lanterns did you say I found?
Let's say you find 4 in total.
Okay, I'm gonna go and position them, like 2 at the front.
And don't forget, you also get a point of effort back.
Oh yes, thank you.
So what were you saying?
I failed before too, right? Yeah, okay, I should be back to full effort now. I was gonna say, I think we should distribute these around. I think one should be kept in the cabin. And
The cabin's lit.
Oh, the cabin's lit. Okay, then is there a way to get like on the roof of the cabin? Is there like just a ladder?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a ladder right here that you can get onto the poop deck, which is where the engines are.
Right.
Yeah, we were fighting up there.
Right. Okay. How do I see that on the map?
You're on a different layer, so like.
Oh, okay. It's fine. Anyway, I'll just say that I go up there, and that's where the one with the mirror is going to be, because whoever's up there needs to be spotting and communicating. I think is the best place. And then I'll put the others on the sides, like one port, one starboard, and then maybe one at the back.
So like
yep, that way we can see him coming. Yep. Or maybe all three. Yeah. That actually, I think that's fine. Yeah, all three in the front. Okay. And that way we have like headlights, sort of.
Yeah, more
very
or
weak
less.
Headlights.
yeah, that's essentially what it is. Very weak headlights. You could put 3 towards the front. You're holding the 4th on top of the poop deck to call down to Lark, who's piloting the ship, while Zolos and Skarn, I guess, take the bow of the ship and look for the asteroids and call out from there. Is that basically what I was hearing?
Yeah. And we can open like the door or like the window to the cabin, right? And like so they can hear us in there.
Yeah, there's 2 doors: the trap door at the top and the one on the side that you could open up.
I'm assuming we can make up some like makeshift flags, like just put some kind of fabric on like a piece of wood.
I've never been on a ship that doesn't have a couple signal flags.
Signal flags, yeah. I was gonna say. So I mean, that he would, gift one to Skarn and just kind of do basic things. He's like, all right, this is what this means. He goes, and that would be how they could call out. Because I'm sure shouting from one end of the ship to the other, like we're almost gonna have to do like a Twilight bark before.
That's
say it's
actually
a one.
exactly how ships function.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they would do. They use flags.
He's gonna use the flags. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Skarn, what were you about to say?
Well, I just wanted to confirm, because I thought I had just taken over in the pilot's seat.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
You were in the pilot's chair. Sorry, you're absolutely
You know what?
right.
We have ourselves, Dr. Blue, they're an owl, right? Well, an Aarakocra, but like an owl version.
No, Dr. Bloom is an owl folk.
Okay.
They have just spent the last 8 hours in the pilot's chair.
So I suppose they could maybe use the wheel and not suffer effects.
Well, that's what Lark's doing. That's what Lark was doing. Yeah.
All right, you know what? So it's me and Boomy out front, and the doc is the one that's gonna be kind of like looking for our signals to relay them down.
Yeah. The doctor does not have to go to bed yet.
Yeah.
They can assist, but they are fairly tired and they cannot pilot the ship anymore. So we'll say that the doctor can assist use Zolos.
So yeah, he just give him. I guess he's running down basic. All right, these are what these flag movements mean. He's just. I don't actually know what they are. I wish I did. That'd be cool if I could just do them right now. But he would show them. He's like, hey, these are what they meant back home. And I was like, just gonna have to direct you with this. For the small ones. I guess they could use the, radar, so to speak. We don't know that word, but the detection system.
Well, yeah.
The thing finder, yeah.
Skarn, you do not have to just sit in the chair and do nothing. You can get up and move around. You just, while wearing the crown, can't leave the cockpit.
Oh, it's not attached? I thought it was.
Okay,
no,
cool,
it's not.
yeah.
There's not like wires or anything. It's just a crown, but that has a certain radius you can move in. So you can get up and move around and that sort of thing. So you could also watch the radar while they're calling out and Lark is piloting the ship. So this is what I want.
That's fantastic.
So this is what I want you all to do. Zolos, you are going to be assisted by Dr. Bloom. They're just they're going to be helping you to do your search, which is going to make your time a little easier, and you're going to be able to drop down your dice to a D8. Dreezy, you're rolling a D10, and you are Skarn, I think you're also going to be rolling a D10. While you're not like super proficient with the radar, you and Boomy did spend time studying it, and you have at least a somewhat of an idea how it works. So that's why you're getting to roll your D10. So all three of you are rolling, or the two of you are rolling D10s. Zolos, you're rolling a D8. Because Dr. Bloom is helping, and all of you need to hit a 5.
Woohoo!
Oof, 7.
Okay, need that one from Skarn still. There we go.
This.
We've only
Be
got
clear, this is a finding stuff roll or this is a piloting roll?
This was a finding stuff roll.
Okay, then I'm okay failing finding stuff.
I mean, you at least got Zolos passing. So, I mean,
Yeah. Boomy rolled a 7. Zolos, you rolled a 3, and Skarn rolled a 6. So, fortunately, between Zolos and Dr. Bloom, you're able to navigate around the asteroids with very little difficulty. Every so often you'll see a smaller one and have to point it out, and between the flag waving and yelling back and forth, Lark is able to maneuver and you do not take damage. Unfortunately, after about an hour or so of traveling farther and farther into this field, Skarn, you kind of get distracted. You kind of more watching the front of the window, how Lark is maneuvering the ship around the asteroids. That more catches your attention. Boomy, you see something shiny on one of those asteroids, and like you hyperfixate on that for a moment. So neither of you spot something coming around one of the very large asteroids in the distance. However, the presence of the thing that comes around the ship makes itself known fairly quickly when the sound of an explosion hits all of your ears. Zolos, you are in the front and you are being very watchful, and you see what appears to be a large round hunk of metal go flying through the air directly in front of the very front point, the mast, or not the mast, I can't remember what it's called, the long wooden point at the end of the ship. The what?
The bowsprit.
Bowsprit, thank you very much. A cannonball goes flying right in front of the bowsprit of the ship. You look to your left and you see coming from around one of those large asteroids a large vessel. It looks like a what's the word? Frigate. It's a large wooden ship. It's got 3 tall masts in the center and what appears to be 2 very large engines in the back on the lower part of the ship. It's sailing around an asteroid coming towards you, and they've just fired off a warning shot.
Didn't it hit us?
No, it just went right in front of your ship. It's a warning shot. It missed.
Okay.
But it just went right in front.
I mean, we never figured out how to talk to other ships, did we? But
you have not.
I mean, then he'll hope that they would figure out, they would kind of know some of the similar thing, like you'd hope the flag waving translates, and he would just kind of like give them, like a friendly symbol, and then maybe after that, like, what the fuck, if he could be, he's like, dude, it's just like, hey, we're not here to hurt anybody. He's trying to give off whatever the motions would be.
Okay, give me a roll to flag. I don't know what the fuck to call it.
Down.
But
a signal with the flag.
Yeah, you're making a signal with the flags.
language.
You're rolling a d12 for this. You need to hit a 5. But while that's going on, Skarn and Dreezy, you would have seen the Zolos like motioning that something just shot past him up there. Skarn, you're in command. Do you call to maneuver? Do you call to halt? What do you do?
Cool. So this, I guess what I'm looking for here, this warning shot, did it seem to be them attacking us in general, or was it them trying to get us not to go in this specific direction?
Make for me an insight check. Do you have anything that'll help you with insight?
Not unless investigation counts, which I don't think it does.
Not in this circumstance. So you're going to be rolling a d10, and you need to, to get a clear insight of just somebody shooting in front of you and missing. I feel like that's a 4.
Unfortunately, no.
So it's difficult to tell. Did they just miss on accident, or were they purposely trying to shoot in front of you? You're not 100% sure, but you have 3 choices. You either don't do anything and keep going forward, you can power down the engines, or you can, start trying to take evasive action.
Any thoughts from the crew before I make a final call?
The only one who would really be able to hear you is Dreezy, but you could... Dreezy, what are your thoughts?
Evasive action!
Alright, let's do it. I don't know that we're going to be able to take this thing. They're way bigger than us and they have cannons, but the longer we stay alive, the better, right?
I mean, we could try to communicate with them, but... Yeah, I would say run away or try to communicate / surrender. Well, don't surrender. Yeah, don't surrender. But get away or try to say something.
Well, we don't know how the communication orb works, but we do know it's a communication orb, yeah?
Yes.
So, could I try a Hail Mary to see if I can hail them?
Well, so here's the deal. Before you have... you could go over there and try to fiddle with a communicator, but I just need to know, is Lark just still going forward in the same pace? Is she taking evasive action, or is she shutting down the engines? She's kind of looking to you, wanting to know what to do.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, in that case, it's got to be evasive actions, because if they're firing again, we don't want to.
Okay. Gotcha. So, Zolos, as
You failed.
Lark starts to spin the wheel to start basically turning off course to begin taking evasive action, you have been waving your flags about. I wanted to just let you know you rolled an 8. So, you're waving wild, trying to communicate. In that moment, nothing seems to be responding. The ship begins to veer away as Skarn starts heading over to the communication orb. As you turn it on, a voice fills the entire room. You, Lark, and Dreezy are all able to hear this because the doors are open. It's at first this weird sort of sound. It's kind of a gravelly bark almost of a language. It's nothing you've ever heard before. It's kind of weird hearing this sound, almost like imagine a trumpet that's kind of filled with water, making sharp barking sounds. And that's basically what you're hearing the moment you begin to activate the orb. A moment later, however, after that, you hear another voice. Same pitch and tone, but it's familiar. You know how American English and British English is more or less the same, but there are certain words that have different contextual meanings?
Yeah.
You're both, startled to hear this voice speaking in a language very similar to that, saying, "What I say, are you peaceful or do you mean to come to blows? This sector is under the command of Colonel Nigel Netterjack, the bombastic of the Gifelian Empire. Please respond."
Hello. Hi. Acting Corporal Skarn Ganister of ship with name we don't know, I guess. Definitely not hostile, but kind of concerned that you just started shooting at us and very scared, so... not... Yeah? All good?
Did you say corporal? Corporal, power down your engines immediately. You are entering into the territory of the Gifelian Empire.
Would you prefer we didn't do that? We can turn around.
We really can't.
I repeat, power down your engines and prepare to be boarded.
Confirmed. And, yeah, honestly, I think Skarn's gonna do this. It doesn't see a way we can win this fight, given their firepower, so...
We're just gonna surrender? No way, evasive action, turn the ship around!
Yeah, maybe we're surrendering, or maybe we're waiting for their captain to come over here, and so he's on our ship.
Right, lure him to us! And then what?
Yeah, figure it out as we go.
Maybe he's got some shiny metals.
By the sound of him, almost certainly.
As you say this, Lark will look over there, confirm your order to shut down the engines, and if you confirm it, she's going to turn them off.
I think, unless someone is going to try and stop that, I think that's my move.
Yeah, I imagine, Zolos, you're still on the bow of the ship with Dr. Blue, waving your flags. No response is coming to you, but you do see some movement because the ship is getting closer.
Yeah, I mean, he would just kind of shout back. He goes, I guess if he could hear the hum of the ship stop, he's just gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, they shot at us. So then he's gonna go for the ballista just if they fire again. He wants to be able to fire back. He's gonna hold off because I'm guessing the ship is bigger than theirs. And he saw the size of the cannonball, so he knows that it's probably an ending. But I mean, if they're gonna fire, he's gonna go down swinging, but he's gonna wait. Because if they're stopping, he's gonna trust them, but he's not gonna trust the other ship.
Absolutely. Well, the ship, sure enough, has powered down its engines. Lark has stepped back and the wheel is well, there is a locking mechanism on on there, so she probably just straightens up the wheel, locks that into place, and it's going to take a little bit, but the ship will begin to just have a slow coast. You all watch. Dreezy, you're still on the poop deck next to the engines. There's 2 of the ballistas up there, I will remind you. Zolos, you're standing next to your ballista. You have it pointed towards that ship, which does inch closer and closer. As you're watching, it only takes about 5 or so minutes for the ship to get within a somewhat close proximity. You would be able to see a sight kind of like this. This ship, as it gets nearer, you notice that it's a little bit bigger than yours, longer for sure, and you can see it more than half a dozen people moving about the deck. As it's getting closer and closer, you can see that these figures all seem to be wearing at least matching uniforms, if nothing else. They seem to have long, is it a sword? No, it doesn't look like a sword. It looks like a round tube. Similar, but not similar to those tubes that the people on the space whale were shooting at you. They're all shouldered up high, and you can see that there are quite a few of them lined up along the deck, watching you in particular, because you're at the ballista. Underneath the main deck itself, you can see that there are quite a few portholes that have been lifted up and are open, and more very large tubes, like about this big, double the size of a basketball, all pointed out along the side of the ship. If these are weapons, it is very, very well armed. The ship seems to be moving alongside yours and positioned in an almost even level as it's getting closer. And as it does, you can see that they are decreasing their speed. Over the crystal, you hear that voice once again. Attention, nameless ship! Remain in your positions, step away from your weapons, and you will not be harmed. But we are approaching. Prepare to be boarded. Now, the process of one ship getting close to one another, for those of you who've been on a boat before, is a complicated process. So, while they're maneuvering to get into that position, my question to you all is, what do? You have a few minutes time. You can to plan or set things up, or just wait and watch and see what happens. It's up to you. I'm just giving you this opportunity if anybody has anything they want to do.
Well, I guess
do, guys?
Relay that message to Zolos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he will kind of like step to the side of the ballista because he sees all these things and he's like, there's no way we would survive. So, I mean, he'll go down swinging if it comes to it, but I mean, he's not going to instigate it. So, yeah, he'll like step away and just kind of like sit at the rail watching him, waiting for him to come over.
Okay.
I guess, can he see what they look like from there now?
Not yet, but I will get to that. I will describe them for you when you do. This is just the time you're getting to that. Dreezy, is there anything you're wanting to do?
I don't like these guys. I'm gonna keep a keep a weapon close. Do we have like a knife or a dagger?
Yeah, you've got spears, you've got short swords, you've got your crossbows from that all were assigned to you when you were guards. You still have
Yeah,
all
we
that.
have that.
Don't have
Oh,
any
okay.
long
So I have a short sword. Yeah, so he's gonna kind of conceal a short sword. He's not gonna like attack right away, but he's gonna make sure that if things go sour, he's got a weapon close by.
Okay. Okay, Skarn, what about you?
I don't think Skarn is doing anything specific to prepare, but it's also not leaving the cabin, because it can't, and without taking off the crown, and if we take off the crown, then it's a whole process to try and turn it back on again. So if we need to book it out of here, I need to be already ready to go. So.
Okay. Okay, well, Lark is taking cues from the two of you, as are Dr. Bloom. So you are all kind of just waiting, watching. Dreezy has their weapon hidden. Well, go ahead and make a stealth check for that for me while you're at it, just so we know right now. I imagine. I think a 4 is it's perfectly concealed, hidden amongst your coat or whatever.
Is that a D10?
Yeah, a D10, unless you have something to make it better.
I don't think so. A 3.
Nice. Yeah, you've got that short sword, then you just kind of tuck it down the leg of your pants, and then put your coat over it, and you're like, yeah, I can grab this easy. Zolos, you are at the side of the ship, watching them. So you would be the first one to see these individuals. The ship gets closer and closer and closer, and then you see a very large figure. They have a hook attached to a rope, and they begin swinging it. They're right on the bow of the ship. So you have a chance to get a really good look at them. They are humanoid, but large, 6.5 feet tall at least, judging based on, dimensions and that sort of thing, comparing them to the ship. They have a very large head. It's massive. Large kind of tusks, teeth, protruding out a little bit to either side of a very wide mouth. They have tiny little ears that stick up from the top of their head, very tiny eyes that are spaced a little bit wide on their heads. It's difficult to see their eye color because the eyes themselves are very, very small. Their hands are huge, massive, four-fingered things with a very stumpy thumb on the end that swing this rope around and around and around, launching it towards your ship. It clatters onto the deck, and you watch as he pulls it sharp. The hook latches into the railing of your ship, and he begins hauling hand over hand this rope, pulling the two ships close to one another. As he's aided by these second things, one of these creatures, basically what you're seeing is a gigantic hippo person. You have hippopotamus on Loroupa.
Yeah, but they're not.
That's kind of what they look like. But all of them are wearing in these large military coats that are bright red in color. You can see one of them tall, about a head taller than the rest of them, with a gigantic hat. It's he looks kind of like Captain Crunch, if Captain Crunch were a hippo, with a single monocle, holding a large tube of a weapon, which I'm just going to tell you all. On Loroupa, in your neck of the woods, guns pretty much don't exist. They're found in a very small region of Loroupa, but there have been stories of them, at least a little bit talked about, that would have reached your nation of Jura. So you've heard of something like this, but basically what you're seeing, most of them carry blunderbusses. Large, almost tubular guns that kind of fan outward, almost like a tuba, on a long stock on the back. They're kind of impressive weapons. All of them are carrying these long tube-like weapons, and all of them look like they're ready to fire at any moment. You don't see the same harpoons that the previous creatures had in them. That's just a long tube. So you're not quite sure what they do, but the way they're holding them, you can definitely tell there's some type of projectile weapon. All of them are armed. The one in the center who looks like Captain Crunch, he has a big old monocle in over one eye. He has a pipe sticking out of his mouth, and he stands up near the railing of his ship and calls out in a loud voice, "You there, both of you! Step away from the railing of your ship! Put your hands up! If you do not act hostile, we will not harm you."
I mean, he'd start stepping back. He goes, "You were the one that shot at us, dick."
And yet all we did was fire a warning shot.
Still,
Be very grateful. As you are trespassing in our territory, we have every right to blow you out of the Æther-Shanties.
yeah, keep thinking that way, Dick. Your name's Dick, right?
He
Just kidding.
he seems pretty...
Does he know what he's... Maybe Dick has different meanings where they're from.
He seems to be whispering to some of the others back there now, as the ships are getting closer and closer together. Let's see here. Eventually, the ships do get close enough to one another that a couple of the hippo people come running over and put a... what was it?
They have like mooring lines.
Yeah, they have mooring lines that they connect to the two ships. They place just a gangway between the two of them, and up steps the dude.
Zolos, he'd help tie him off on his side of the ship, just so he could show. It's like, hey, we're just here. We're not here to hurt you.
Okay.
You might call him a dick, but he's gonna be helpful still.
The bridge is laid. The man steps forward, followed by 4 of his soldier companions. The rest of the crew on the deck seem to be stationing themselves along their own railing. Their weapons are at the ready. They're not pointed in any one particular direction. There's only the 2 of you currently standing on the front of the ship. But they're definitely ready in case any of you do anything. The 4 who walked onto the deck of the ship, the very bombastic one, the guy who looks like Captain Crunch, he walks up directly towards you, Zolos, and kind of gives you this big up and down look. You are not one of the people who have like a flaw about authority, do you?
No.
Okay, just wanted to double check.
Nope, that's me.
That's you.
As he's doing, he'd be like, yeah, drink it in.
He kind of just looks you up and down and looks past you towards the window where the other 3 are currently still standing. Dreezy, this individual looks like a person of authority. He's got medals all over the front of his tunic. There's a dozen of them. Ribbons galore, a gigantic medal of something in clearly pressed gold hanging from a ribbon around his neck as well.
Ooh, shiny. See, I also have the kleptomaniac struggle, so when I see something valuable and unguarded, it's not
guarded.
exactly unguarded, so maybe I'll make that
Yeah.
when he gets close, like when I could like snatch it from him when he's not looking.
Did
Yeah,
the blunder throw you off?
he is
But-
not.
but I
he
mean-
is not. Yeah, they're not like unguarded right now for sure. So I'm
Right,
not going
but
to
you
make
can
you roll.
see Dreezy's eyes getting big. He's got the diamond eyes. But the anarchist happens when I'm given an order by an authoritative figure.
Lark, I know,
Yeah.
she had the like fearful of authority or something like that.
For sure.
I think she did.
I think we both have the same ones. But I think we both have kleptomania and
Yeah, I
anarchist.
think you two both had anarchist, and then Dr. Bloom had the timid one, which made it difficult for them to speak up.
That's right. So I'm just going to say, for the sake of narration right now, because we are getting late, the lead one in charge, who you're guessing is probably the one who identified himself as Colonel Natterjack. He points to two of the hippo people on his side and says, "Sergeant Corporal." And he just points towards the cabin. The two hippo people go charging towards the cabin, while the other two have their weapons drawn, and at that point, they are pointed at Zolos and Dr. Bloom, who, being that he has the timid trait, is right now just dissolved into a oh shit moment. Which is probably where we're going to, I think, yeah. Let's go ahead and pause here for this evening.
I guess Zolos real quick would say is you go, hey, just don't make the big rock take the crown off, because we really have no idea how to run this thing, and it's always a son of a bitch getting that thing back on. So can they just keep that on? We barely know what we're doing.
Well,
And then, yeah. I just want to say before I actually forget, because I would not remember that.
yeah. So why don't we go ahead and have you roll for that? You gotta make a silver tongue check here.
Yeah, and he gets a 6 now, a D6. Because
Okay.
I'm pumping so much into that.
Well, it's good news that you have a D6, because you gotta roll a 2 for this one.
Set a 2. No, that was a. Oh, god damn it! Yeah.
Wow. So, with that too, we're ending off tonight's session with Zolos saying, "Hey, please don't take the crown off. We're having a hard time controlling the ship."
Yeah.
And the Colonel at least gives you a nod. So, that's a good thing. Well done, everybody. You managed to get better control of your ship, or at least you're starting to understand it a little bit better. And while you've had some hiccups, you're at least getting things under control. But we'll see what happens with all this. Now, as always, we go around the table and have everybody tell us who they are and where we can find them on the internet. I did forget to say, so before I do that, let me go ahead and say thank you to everyone who watched this evening. We very much appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us. And come back in 2 weeks to find out what our heroes do now that they've been boarded by space military? Whatever. Joe, you're the one who did our recap, so why don't you go ahead and go first?
Well, my name is Joe. I am Zolos Vohnagath here on Æther-Shanties. Every Wednesday or every other including this coming Wednesday, I am Corwin Oliver Goodwood for our Curse of Strahd campaign, the Sonnet of Blood. So come watch us then at 6 on Wednesdays. Other than that, I'm Blood from a Stone on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Just come on and you can interact with me, say hi, say something stupid. I don't care. But come watch us Wednesday. That one's fun. And I don't remember. I think some shit's about to go down because Natalie with Danica, her board, decided to really fuck Cog over last time. So he had to do some shit he didn't want to. So it's getting all kinds of fun. We're about to get into a fight. So.
Oh yeah, you're about to go hunt down the sheriff.
Yeah, with a big old demon bee farm. So yeah, come by Wednesday, watch that.
Love it. Coins, why don't you go next?
Hey, I'm Coins. I play Dreezy F Boomy in this game, and if you want to see what I'm doing or chat with me on the internet, Instagram, Twitter, X, Discord, whatever, it's all at Devil Fetish.
Right on. Nobody. Go for it.
I'm Nobody, and I played Skarn Ganister in this game. If you'd like to find me on the internet, I'm at Nobody Adams. That's Adams with 2 Ds on Twitter and Blue Sky. And I also do a ton of other stuff. For, of course, I'm here every other week for Æther-Shanties. And then for All on the Table RPGs, I'm on the first Saturday of every month for the Artifacts of Romulus game. And now I'm on every Tuesday, starting at 5 p.m. Central, for Mutants in the Now, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles-inspired game about a small town in Canada where everyone suddenly turned into animals.
Oh, neat. That'd be fun. Love it. Okay, well, as always, I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and game master here on the network. Other than this place, every Monday and Wednesday, you can find me over on All on the Table as well. I'm playing on there the second Saturday of every month. So you can find me there at 3 p.m. Central. 3:30 Central. We just changed it. So second Saturday of the month, 3:30 Central. Check me out there. And so, on behalf of everyone here in the Æther-Shanties crew and everyone with Random Rhapsody, I just want to say thank you, folks. It's been a delight. So long. Good luck. And until next time, may the winds of Æther fill your sails. And good night.